I think we'll start, and then anyone that joins late, that's fine. Nice to see you all. This is one of the first of our internal solution sessions where we're just showing something that we've put together internally, or showing something that VR has done that we'd like to show to all of our colleagues. So this was predominantly around the solution that I took to DevCon, which I showed there. Which me and Brendan demoed together. And essentially, I'll just walk you through the whole thing and you can ask some questions if you have any. So let me share my screen. I think, Steve, you started the recording, right?
I have indeed.
Cool. Nice. Okay, so the purpose of this solution was to really kind of try and use all of Workday's analytical capabilities. So it's built using Prism entirely, and basically everything that you'll see in here is only possible with Prism and can only be done that way. So if you don't know what Prism is, I'll show you that very quickly. So this is how you access Prism, and essentially you bring data in into tables. So if I show you those, I'm not going to get too crazy on here, but I just think it's useful for everyone to see. So you bring data in from various different sources. So we have some worker data coming in. There's some external finance data. In reality, where would this come from? Perhaps an SFTP connection or some other integration. You bring data in tables, and then you do something to that data in these derived data sets, where you apply some conditions or logic to the data and change it in some way. And then once you've done that, you can then start combining your data together. So that's, I'm sure that some of you've probably made reports and you get quite frustrated where you're like, oh, I just wish this data would connect up a little bit better, or you sort of find a situation where you get to a point where you can't connect something, and that's where Prism can sort of alleviate those issues. Is that it'll all just sort of connect together as long as you've got something to join on, like an employee ID, you can make it work. So once you have all of those connections done and all of that heavy lifting done here, you can then just publish the data set and use it in your sort of tenant as you would any other data set in Workday for reporting purposes. And the great thing about it is they're all indexed. They're fully, they're very fast data sources. They don't take a lot of time to run. If you had a Prism data source report, you're never going to come across timeout issues or something like that, which is really nice. So yeah, I can show you what these tables look like, because I'm sure there's probably a few people on the call who never seen inside Prism. So when I say table, I really do mean that. It is literally just a table with columns, and you bring it in and there's a load of data in it. And the normal things apply. You get text fields, instances, multi-instance fields. Yeah, so that's how you load data and how you bring it in. And then, like I said, these data sets here are where you do something to the data. So there's some sort of calculation happening in there. Don't know what this one's doing. Looks like it's summing some of the data up, I think. So yeah, that's kind of a quick overview of Prism. And if you have any questions, maybe I'll take them all at the end if there's questions, and then I can go through them all. Nice. So on to the specific solution. So there's essentially three parts to it, which are going to be these three down here. So there's a discovery board, a worksheet, and a slides pack. There is some custom reports and dashboards as well out there, but I'll just focus on these three for today, I think. So the discovery board is where all of the analytics happen that are built sort of using all of these Prism data sources that we made. And what they're aiming to show is, that you can actually have some really nice visuals in Workday. Dashboards and normal reporting can sometimes be quite inflexible. With discovery boards, there's a lot of flexibility and it's actually quite quick to change things. So if we were to take this one here, for example, we've currently got it grouped with country. And this is just grouping some sort of quartile calculation that's in the data set. So it's just splitting the workforce basically into quarters, and then you get that distribution over the countries of, where do people sit. But if you want to change it, you can just drag a new field in and then change it to company, cost centers, so on. And that's what's nice about discovery boards. It's very quick and easy to make these kind of changes. If you were looking at custom reports and your customer had a load of custom reports that they wanted to change and change the visualizations, that's a whole kind of process to that usually. They have to raise a ticket, someone has to action it, someone has to do it. This way you can sort of give a little bit more self-service to the customer. There's quite a lot of maintenance on the back end from Prism sometimes, but yeah, from the front end view for the customer, it's a nice experience. You can also do some nice formatting. So again, another problem that I think we've all faced is in Workday is that formatting can sometimes be extremely limited to the 4 colors that Workday gives you, which is not great. With this, you can even just enter a hex code. So you could brand this to the company's branding colors. So we got a purple in here. I think I probably took that from Unilever or somewhere similar, just to demonstrate that it's actually possible. So yeah, that's kind of discovery boards. And the solution that we have developed here is aggregating a lot of data together. I'm just going to refresh actually, so I don't save that. So we were bringing in some scoring data, which is looking at all of these employees, and it'll then spit out these kind of different scores that make up their total talent score. And then this one here, we've grouped people into quartiles. So that's a nice calculation that you can do in Prism where you've got some sort of scoring, and then you compare everyone against the entire company, and you bucket them into different quarters. So it's quite a nice way of distributing the data, which with Workday native reporting you wouldn't really be able to do. I'll show you a few more other sort of interesting ones. These are sort of pivot tables. If you're familiar with Excel, these tables in here are essentially pivoting the data in some way. This one we've got it pivoted where you're getting people who are a highly ranked person relative to their talent scorings. They're a top performer, and they've got a high retention risk. So this could prove something quite nice for the client to just get some really easy data to them very quickly. And then these ones below are just grouping that data slightly differently. So we have it by superorg or by cost center, and then globally. And then this was another part of the presentation that we made where we made a trending skills data set. So for any of you that have looked at skills data in Workday, I'm sure that you're aware that it's incredibly difficult to report on and very annoying. So with Prism, again, you can bring all of that data into Prism, and then you can build a data set that works for the customer, or works for the sort of purpose that you're trying to solve for. So these are showing that, we have a trending skills data set here, which is showing what skills are coming into the organization over time. And this is splitting it by management level. And then we've got another one here, which is splitting it by essentially proficiency level of the skills that you're bringing in. And then you can get some other sort of insights below. So what skills are actually being brought into the organization? Of course, all of this is demonstration data, right? But there's no reason that this wouldn't work in a customer environment. And then I think we did a little bit more on skills. So we picked out some critical skills. If the customer had, a way of identifying that, you could, if they said, okay, we've got these 50 skills that are our sort of most important critical ones, you could load that into Prism, and then you can do a comparison between what skills workers do have, and then what are your critical skills, do that kind of matching exercise or comparison, and then spit out these type of charts where you've got, okay, Marcus here, he's got 50 critical skills, he must have just been doing tons of learning or something, got loads of experience. and you can get these kind of nice visualizations out of it. And then moving on to these ones below, so this is pivoting that data that we were looking at above, and it's showing you by country what countries are bringing in the most skills, what learning areas are bringing in the most skills. And this is, a lot of this data is built using learning data, but it doesn't have to be. It could be built using worker data. It's just for this purpose, learning data was the best option. Nice. So this is probably a chart that I don't think many people see. I don't see it used too often. It's a little bubble chart, and it's quite a nice way of essentially showing 4 pieces of data just on one chart. So you've got your learning completion rate along the bottom and a total number of learnings on the left. And then the color of these bubbles, so they're superorgs, I believe. Yeah, superorgs, or something like that. And then the size of them is the person's salary. So you get quite a nice view here. You can see that there's someone who's on a lower salary doing lots of learning, lots of high completion rate, versus high earners in the organization not really doing anything. But these charts I think are really nice because, again, you can't do this outside of discovery boards. This is only available in discovery boards. If you were to try and build like a custom report off this, it's not possible. So just a different kind of visualization that we can offer to clients, and a little bit more colorful and visual for them. So I think these these charts below here, they're looking at learnings. What are the top 10 learnings by by each company? So you can see in here which company's doing which learnings the most, and then which learnings are giving you, as a percentage, your critical skills. So those skills that the client has said, these are our most important, or where is that actually coming from? And then they can try and push those learnings a little bit more. And of course, it depends on how well the client has their tenant set up for skills. But yeah. I think these ones on the end were more of an example of just some sort of basic bar charts, but yeah, they give a nice little view of what are the 5 most popular critical skills over the last 12 months, what are the 5 least popular, so what things are losing popularity, and why is that? They could sort of prompt those kind of questions for organizations. I think that's it for the discovery board. So any questions on that right now, or should I move on? Okay, all good. So worksheets, if any of you have seen worksheets or not, I'm not sure. Worksheets is Excel within Workday. That's all it is. All the functions are exactly the same. You can basically do everything you can do in Excel, you can do in here, sometimes with some added friction. Perhaps Workday hasn't quite figured out something yet and they do it a little bit wrong. So it works generally, with the added benefit of being able to bring data in from Workday live, as live as your refresh schedule is. So how you do that is you take a custom report. So we've got this custom report here, which will be built off of the Prism data set that I've spoken about. And then you add this custom report and bring in the live data, and you get this nice sort of user experience where you can drag and drop fields or get rid of them or add them, and say which fields you want to bring in. And once you've then brought in that data, you can set up a refresh schedule as well, which is just using this little button here. And you can say how often you want that data to be refreshed in the worksheet. And then this is where you start to build up any of the charts that you'd like to use in your slides presentation. So that final piece of the puzzle over here. So to use slides, you need to have the data in worksheets. You can't connect reports or data sources directly to slides. It has to come through worksheets first. So you get your data, you pivot it in some way or create a chart of some kind like I've done here. These are all just kind of examples to show you what's possible in here. And then once you've got these charts made, again, it's just a normal sort of pivot table setup. once you've then got these charts made, you go into your presentation. Let me just add a row here. And then you go insert, linked chart, go to your talent, your worksheet, and then you just pick one of those charts that you just made, one of those pivot tables, and you click on it, choose chart type, and it gives you a kind of little option as to what do you want to show with this chart. And that's it. And you insert, and then you have to do the hard work of trying to format this stuff, which I'll be honest, slides is good once it's set up, but actually setting it up is quite frustrating, to be honest. It's a little bit clunky. Like for some reason, when I was making these, they kept coming through in US date format. Even though everything in here is all in UK date format or European date format. And it kept bringing it through as a US date format. So that was quite annoying and took some sort of messing around on the worksheet to make that come in properly. And then getting these kind of colors set up properly, that was quite painful, I seem to remember as well. This is a little while ago that I did these, but I can't even remember how you do them now. But anyway, there you go. So it takes a little bit of time to set it up, but I think once you've got it set up, that's it, it's done. And you could have this for a client where they have a monthly slide pack with some really important key information on, and it just gets refreshed on an automatic basis. There's not really anything you need to do to it then. Once you've got this worksheet and the slide set up, you can just say, hey, there you go and download all these nice visualizations. They can download it as a PowerPoint or as a PDF. And it all links together and it will refresh automatically. And of course you can share it with people and do all that kind of normal Workday stuff. So I feel like I've gone very quickly through all of that, to be honest. But yeah, I think that's everything. So I'll move on to some questions. So Mari, you're first. What's up?
Yes, thanks, Steve. Just a quick one. So when you selected that last table, for example,
Yeah.
it gives it the generic name that you would have used in Excel, right? I'm assuming
Yeah.
you could rename it so that you are able to see which
Yes, good point.
which
Probably can.
graph it is or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, because when you click on it, you just sort of see like chart 1, chart 2. It's a
Yeah.
bit you'd
I'm
have to be
wondering if you,
quite
in
good at
worksheets itself,
remembering.
you can rename it to call it like, I don't know, bar chart or I don't know,
Yeah.
bar chart 4x or whatever.
Yeah, it's a good question. And I don't actually know. Maybe, or it might just be one of those funny things that Workday says no. But yeah, potentially. Yeah, it would be nicer if you could have in here like, pivot table 1 and give a little description for it. It'd be a bit nicer on the user experience. I agree. Yeah.
So that was basically my only question. The rest is very like I want to say limited functionality in based off of Excel and PowerPoint, right? So you
Yeah.
don't okay.
Yeah. So yeah, essentially these can do everything that PowerPoint does and everything that Excel does. But really the value in everything that we've shown and what was a major sort of thing that we took to DevCon was this discovery board, showing all of these visualizations, which essentially everything on the screen is only possible with Prism. Like this quartiles calculation, there's no way of doing it outside of Prism. So yeah.
Thank you.
Cool, no worries. Hey Christine, see your hand is up.
Yes, hello, thanks. I just want to add to your comment, Mari. Don't underestimate the value a customer can get from slides. Every customer I mention it to thinks, oh, wow. Because remember, their quarterly packs or their weekly reporting packs is manually put together. This means you set it up once and you refresh because it's the same data. It pulls it from Workday and you can kind of report on it. You can also make any graphic, any pictures in it. You can build it like a PowerPoint. So you can use your custom template that you have as from your client and you can build it up. The thing that refreshes is the diagrams and the graphs and the pivot tables. So
Yep.
yes, it's a pain to set up, but it's also, once you know how to do it, then it's not that much of a pain. It's just nobody uses this. This is also free. It's like nobody have to pay for this. If you have HCM, you have worksheets, you can have sheets, slides. So this is something you guys should mention to your customers. Say that, hey, do you have any annual or quarterly packs that you need to make? This is a great way just to add that extra value that nobody else tells them about, and it's there. So yeah, keep that in mind. Yeah.
What I found is nice if you standardize reports, these weekly or monthly or quarterly reports, is people get used to what it looks like, but they just can get the new data from it. So they don't have
Yeah.
to go through the entire slide deck bit by bit to get new new information. It's just purely the same structure with different data elements in it, which is great.
Yeah. And you can have your first slide to be manual, like free text, update that, and the rest is just the same that you report on a weekly or monthly basis.
Yeah, it's true. You know, and if customers don't have Prism, that doesn't mean that they can't use worksheets and slides. You could even have a worksheet set up where you're bringing in some external data to that. You know, you'd have to just sort of copy and paste it into it, so it's not as automated as Prism.
Yeah.
But you could do it where you have some external data, drop it in, and it will just update all of the pivot tables, all the charts, and publish it into the PowerPoint. So you could do some element of combining of external and Workday data in worksheets as well. For customers that don't have Prism, which would be quite nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Any other questions from anyone? Any comments? Anything you'd like to know? All good?
Did you learn something new today?
I can't believe I never knew you could make slides in Workday. Like, I've been working with worksheets, but I had no idea about this whole, like, almost PowerPoint-like part of it, and it's really amazing.
Capability. Yeah.
Thanks, Teed.
No worries. Yeah, no worries.
Catherine's
It is exciting, Catherine.
That's pretty cute.
I'm the only one that's thought that it's exciting to this point, but in terms of what we can do, that's amazing. Like what Workday deliver and what Teed's able to produce, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a nice one to set up. Yeah.
I am absolutely going to be hounding you for the next 3 months to get this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever you need.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Nice. All right then. Well, yeah, nice to chat to you all. I think that's it. I think we're done then. All good.
Awesome.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Happy
See you later.
weekend.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.